modifying the Corolla already because I have deep insecurity issues with myself and I want to modify this car. So I have been absolutely loving this thing. I've had the Corolla about 2 weeks. I'd say I'm outside of the honeymoon phase of the car. And yeah, there's a couple things I've noticed I dislike about it, but overall, I am so happy with my purchase on the Corolla. We're gonna start modifying it. Now, we're not going full bananas right off the rip. We do have a handful of goodies on the table behind us. Later this week, we have some more stuff coming in. We are gonna start tuning on the Corolla next week. We're not going big power right off the rip, but we are gonna start out small with an e-Venturi intake, ECU tech, a little bit of E50, and kind of see where that puts us with the car. And then we'll reevaluate and go from there. I do have a track day coming up with the Corolla because you guys said you wanted more track stuff. So granted, it's autocross. I don't know how, I know some of you guys will be like, that's not a track stuff. Well, that's what I have to work with right now, so that's what we're doing. So let me show you what I got on the table behind me and let's jump into it because this feels like the good old days where I drove the Corolla to the shop, so I cannot leave the shop until this thing is modified. Now for the most part, I got everything here on the table from the guys over at Limit Plus One. I quite literally placed an order on Limit Plus One. They reached out to me. I talked to the guys over there for a while. Awesome group of guys. If you're looking for any Corolla parts, I'd highly suggest hitting them up. They also sent me a hoodie. I'm not biased, but I really like the hoodie they sent me. So and they're just cool dudes. We have a set of Swift Sport Springs for the car. I opted to go with these over coilovers or anything else right now for a couple reasons. I wanted lowering springs because I didn't want to go right off the rip of just throwing tons and tons and tons and tons of parts at the car immediately. I figured the stock dampers in the car, they don't feel bad by any means. The only problem I have with them is ride height. So these were designed in works with the stock dampers where it puts the spring rate still in line with where the damper is and will lower the car by 1.3 inches. We also got a set of H&R wheel spacers because it's not as easy as just putting aftermarket or different wheels and tires on the car. You have to actually swap out all of the wheel studs. I don't know if I want to go that far today. I did purchase the wheel stud kit and some open-ended lug nuts, and I do already have a set of Anki RS05 RRs in an 18 by 9.5 plus 38. They're Subaru fitment wheels, but I feel like they should fit on this car no problem. Additionally, we do have a front lip. We've got a couple screen protectors I want to throw on the inside for that massive display, and then we got some OEM Toyota garnishes that I want to throw on. The biggest ones I'm excited for are obviously the wheel spacers and the springs. I personally don't think that the stock wheels look all that bad. From the factory, Toyota puts on a set of OEM BBS wheels, on the circuit editions I should say. They're forged wheels. They're 18 by 8.5. The only issue, like I said, I have with them is the sizing, the offset. I wish they went with a little bit more aggressive offset, but for a factory car, I mean, I really can't complain that much. Let's get the springs out of the way. I feel like the springs are gonna be the worst part. The rear should be pretty easy. The fronts are gonna be a little bit annoying, so we have to take out the whole cowl and everything. So let me pull out our quick jacks down there, get them set up on the Corolla, and let's get to town pulling out all these springs and swapping them out. It makes a weird noise. Am I bleeding? Oh man, I'm bleeding. It got me good. For the rear suspension, you've got your spring here, your strut there. Now, that's actually really nice how the strut just kind of bolts in. For the rear spring, it looks like it's just this bolt and then on the other side of this arm here. I'm gonna mark these with Sharpie just in case they are some type of eccentric bolt. I don't think they are. I know Toyota didn't give a whole bunch of adjustment points on this, but just in case, that means I can put the bolt back in the same spot. But I think I'm gonna put the jack under here and let it out slowly so the spring doesn't try to like shoot out at me. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of scared of that. Ah! Okay, now we good. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay. That is actually a little bit terrifying. Like the spring is loose. Oh no, wait, can I just pull it out and not even have to undo the other side? Oh shit, yeah, I can. I'm not gonna lie, that scared me just a little bit. Let me go grab the other spring. I'm assuming it's gonna be one of these springs because those look way too short. And boom. Are these physically like the same height? No, I mean the Swift spring is a little bit shorter, but it's got a lot more coil in the middle of it. So obviously, top hat boot, swap that over. Is this side specific? Yeah, okay. I mean, it seems easy enough. Let's feed this. This spring is, in theory, shorter, so I feel like it should kind of go in a little bit easier, assuming that I can keep these top hat boots on. Oh, dude, okay, no, you can totally just do this by your hand on this one. clearly not lined up on the other side. Oh my God, it's so close. Oh wait, is this a spherical bearing? Oh my God, I'm an idiot, dude. Oh my God, we did it. Okay, yeah, quite literally says Swift rear. Looking at the camera timer, this side took 6 minutes, the other side took 20. So I'm pretty happy with actually how these came out. Everything is sitting nice and flush up there, nice and flush down there as well. 15mm wheel spacers. Should we wait to put it on the ground and get the full effect? I feel like that's the way to go. Doing wheel spacers and whatnot, this really reminds me of before YouTube when I used to modify cars and do stuff, because I will admit with doing the YouTube stuff, you do tend to gravitate toward let's just do all the crazy stuff right off the rip and get things going. But this makes me feel, it makes me feel like before I was doing YouTube and modifying cars. No, give it back. Okay, give me my socket back, please. Please give me this back. Oh my God, dude. That looks so much better. Just for like a little, it's like a 1.3 inch drop. That's super usable too. Fitment actually with those wheel spacers looks incredible. That looks way better. How's our toe look? It looks like we're towed in a little bit, just a hair. There's not really a way to adjust it right now, factory arm, so that is something we're gonna have to invest in later. But dude, that looks so good. That looks so much better, man. Holy shit. This is way better on the rears. So these are with the Swift lowering springs, drop about 1.3 inches. It'll probably settle probably another maybe 1/8 of an inch as the car sits for the next 24 hours. For the width, this is with the 10mm spacer, and then I added a 15 on top of that. And honestly, I'd say that's pretty good. You got plenty of room here for actual driving. No rubbing should happen either. I'm super happy with that. I'm curious to see what this is gonna look like outside of the shop, but honestly, I'd say that's like perfect. That's like spot on right there. Plus that spring is still tuned to go with that shock that's already in there. So with the rears done, the fronts are gonna be a little bit different. So with the fronts, we're gonna have to pop the hood, take off the hood cowl. I believe we have to take off the windshield wipers also, at least the arms for it. So I'll probably label those passenger drivers so I can get them back in the right spot. Take off the cowl, then it'll give us access to the upper strut mounts. We can pull those out. I did go out and buy a spring compressor, so that way we can actually do this safely, because coil springs scare the ever-living hell out of me. But dude, the rear looks so good. Okay, I'm stoked. Let's jump over to the front. So what I'm gonna do, because I've made this mistake in the past, is put a piece of tape where the top of the wiper is supposed to sit, so that way when I go to reorientate these on, I know where to orientate them at, so that way they sit in the correct position. You don't have to do this. In my opinion, definitely a good idea though. And then this little cap right here at the end should just kind of pop off. There it goes. Little cap pops off. Push down on it when it's fully down, and then you can start to pick it up and off like that. One on each end and then one in the middle on each side. At least Toyota made it easy. That is actually kind of nice, because you can take out all of this whole assembly, to be able to like work down there. Oh man, dude, they were not kidding. These front wheel studs are short as fuck. Yeah, those are, they're not like short, but the reason that these wheel studs are short, they pass through the wheel in Toyota's lug nuts. It's an inset threaded lug, so even the portion that goes inside of like the wheel is still threaded. So you're still getting all of the grip on the lug nut, but I understand. These are massive brake rotors. Thank you. The metric socket side of things, I don't have anything big enough for these. A 7/8 fits. I'm not quite sure what that translates to. The brake line is a 14. Wait, what? Oh, this is just a plastic cap. Okay, so what do I have over here right now? This is 17. 17, come on, 17. Yep, like this one, just zapped right off. This one looks like bottom. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this guy out and away. Kind of slide it out of the way. So now we just got the couple up top, and then we can pull the strut out. There we go. Woo! One out! So I'm assuming maybe just the center, okay, yeah, centerpiece just kind of pops off. So I'm gonna get the spring compressor kind of set up on here. We're gonna break free that center nut right there. Now the whole point of doing this is obviously take tension off the spring, because if you were to just do this and pop that top nut off, the spring is under tension and the tension has to go somewhere. Wow, that came off rather easy. Okay, so we had that guy, then washer, then bump stop. Okay, there, come free. Look at that. I don't know how to put the other one back together, so I took the other one out so I could reference and do a part-by-part breakdown. So I've already got the top nut off and the little washer guy. Okay, so nothing goes inside of that. That's been my confusion right now, is I have this little plastic ring and I thought that the inner boot went inside of that. I guess not. Then we have a washer for the bump stop. Then we have the bump stop. Then we have the spring seat, which I would like to pull that whole, this is where I'm stuck on mine. Okay, cool. So now we can take the the spring off. Now we're gonna do this in reverse order. Oh, okay. Dude, this was driving me up the wall trying to figure out the orientation for this. If your boot like this comes off also, if you look at this, there's a cutout right there. And then if you spin the boot the other way, there's a secondary cutout. So this only goes on one way. And then once that's on, then this rubber piece goes on, and that, I guess, kind of locks it down. So that makes way more sense. Maybe this is why I always do coilovers, because this shit just confuses the hell out of me. So we're gonna do that guy first, bump stop on, and then we slide all of this down. The washer goes on, this points that direction, and that's got an alignment. Hang on, wait. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Okay, we've done something. Okay, so if I use my body weight, I have the springs on the shocks. I had to have a second person come and help me. I would not do this again. I would never do springs again. This is why I always do coilovers. I got a bloody nose, man. I had to come up and get me in the nose. 10 out of 10 would not do again. We're gonna put the shocks back in the car. We're just gonna wrap this up. I'm just gonna listen to music, relax. I'm gonna woo-saw a little bit, and we're gonna get this thing back on the ground.
I'm gonna be honest, quite literally everything went downhill at this point. I didn't realize it quite yet, but I couldn't get the knuckle back into the strut because both of the front axles had popped out of the inner tripods. I didn't know it, so I spent the next 4 hours trying to figure out what the hell was going on, why I couldn't put the knuckle in, and how the hell to get my axles back together. 10 out of 10, not a fun time. Definitely support the knuckle if you're gonna do this. I would like to preface, it has been about 5 hours since we embarked on the front struts. I do not place any blame on the springs themselves. This was a me issue, and if you guys are going to install coilovers or lowering springs on your Corolla or any car that is all-wheel drive for that matter, take the precaution to just put a jack under the front lower control arm. I had both of the front axles pop out. Not pop out of the transmission, but pop out of the tripod. Where your axle boot is, there's a tripod that holds the axle together, and because it was leaning so far forward, it popped out, and it was honestly an absolute nightmare to put back together. They are in, the car is back on the ground. It looks great. Let me show you, because we got a couple other things to throw on this thing. The car is not fully on the ground right now, but we have everything back together. We have our 15mm wheel spacers in here, and with the quick jack still holding up the car a little bit, this is kind of what we're looking at. Fitment wise, I would say that's pretty good right there. It's pretty flush with the fender, both front and back, so I would say I am more than happy with that. I would suggest the springs, but like I said, it's really awkward putting them together because the spring itself wants to sit cocked in the shock body. So when you go to put them together, it's gonna look really weird. Like I mentioned, the metal tab that's at the top of the top hat, make sure that is in line with where it's going to bolt up here, and you should be pretty solid. But all right, now that we're past the worst part of our installs, we're gonna move over to our front lip. This is gonna be really easy. Everything is already pre-drilled hole-wise, and it's got these nice little soft washers on it. So all we need to do is apply our double-sided tape, wipe everything down with an alcohol wipe, and just hold it up and put in the screw. It's the next morning, but we got the Corolla out. I've been driving this thing around a little bit. I will tell you now, it needs an alignment, but that wheel fitment looks so... Dude, this car looks so good. Just lowered a little bit with the front lip, the hood vents, all of it ties together so nicely on this thing. But we still have some other parts to be tossing on here. I might try to adjust the toe myself. I can see that this wheel needs to toe in a bit, and this one looks fine. So honestly, it's just this one that needs a little bit of toe in. So, you know what, we will fix that. It's not that hard. We just got to jack it up, break the tie rod arms free. We'll get the toe a little more dialed in, so that way we're not putting a whole bunch of wear on these. But the next couple things we got, these are all very easy, very quick. These are OEM Toyota GR Corolla, like I don't even know what these are called. You open the door and they're like right there. I've learned in the past that OEM Plus stuff doesn't always last forever. So if you want the OEM Plus stuff, get it while you can. So this was one option that I did want. They're relatively cheap, like 150 bucks. I got this off Etsy, just a GR license plate frame because I didn't have one. And then a screen protector for the display inside of the car. Once we get these three things on real quick, we're gonna jump back, correct the toe, and then the Corolla should be pretty decent for right now. Got our little kick panel things on the inside of the doors. I actually really dig those for like 100 bucks. It's a nice little accent piece when you open the door. It's just like right there. Our screen protector for the center display, not needed, but for 30 bucks I think I bought that thing for, and to keep the screen like scratch free, I'm about it. And then lastly, we just did a quick little toe alignment on the front end. To adjust the toe on the front end, you just go off of the steering rack on the end of the tie rods. You break free the 3/4 inch, I think it was 7/8 actually, I think it was 7/8 nut. Break that free, and then you can spin the inner tie rod to tow it in and tow it out. So both sides were towed out, and we had to tow them in. When I was driving, the steering wheel was cocked to the left just a little bit, but this thing, I am hyped for it. Let's actually get this thing pulled out of the shop, go see it out in the daylight with the springs, the quick alignment, the lip, all the little stuff that we just did, because honestly, I feel like this car just looks
So it looks as good as it drives. And I love it. I love it. Overall, I think the Corolla looks way better. Technically speaking, it should perform a little bit better, having a little bit lower center of gravity with the lowering springs on there and with them being Swift springs. I am gonna call Toyota, see if they can get me in for an alignment. Yes, my eyeball alignment will get the car driving, but it's not gonna get the specs back to where they need to be. So overall, I'm pretty hyped with it. I actually was talking to the guys over at OTL earlier. They're gonna be sending over one of their front mounts for the Corolla. So we're gonna have front mount, e-Venturi intake, charge piping as well. I think that's where we're gonna stop for at least a little while. We may do a downpipe also, but I don't know, we'll see. I got a problem, man. I had a problem with myself. That's all right though, dude. I'm thoroughly enjoying the Corolla. Been using it as my daily. It's a fun car. I've been having an absolute blast with it. But with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. I'm hyped for the Corolla stuff. There will be more coming next week on the Corolla when the rest of these parts come in. I'm probably going to order an oil cooler for it tonight because that is one of the Achilles heels with the Corolla is oil temperature. It just gets extremely hot very fast. I've noticed that just buzzing around town and whatnot, and getting on the car hard a little bit. But with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, side, and whatever color it might turn for you. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, and you want to be, I'll put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.